And we're back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, the number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business. This is episode 68. I am Christian Brindle, your host. I'm joined today again with my co-host, Glenn Shelton. And is that a Lions hat on your head?
That is a Lions hat. I'm wearing a Seattle sweatshirt, a Lions hat. There's some conflict here, but Dan Campbell's the reason I really became a Lions fan. That man can coach a football team. Also, just his adversity to risk is what I'm mostly obsessed with. If you were playing blackjack with Dan Campbell, he's going to be hitting a 19, and you're going to be pissed. You're going to be sitting next to him, and you're going to be pissed watching this guy hit a 19. Be like,
what are you doing?
An ace or a 2.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
The dealer's showing a 7. Dan's over here hitting a 19 for no reason. Like, it's wild.
You know how when you play blackjack in Vegas and there's someone at the table, sometimes it's you or me. And you're making the wrong move, and the dealer like pauses for a second, and they're like, "You sure you want to do that?" That's what I think of here. Like, and
I'm okay with that. It's when the person next to you starts to get pissed at at how you're playing. Like, that's when I'm like, "Really, dude? Like, just let me play. Can I just play this game?" Yeah.
Go to a
different table. Yeah. Get out of here.
Last I checked, there's 9 of them around.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah, for real.
If I want to hit on 18 or 19, that's my business, okay? My chips. Mine.
Yeah. I don't think it's fair to be like, hey, because he hit or stayed, now it changed how my game went. Like, it's all part of the game, in my opinion. I would never sit there and criticize or make like audible sounds about how the person next to me is playing their hand. Like, is that you? Are you doing?
No,
are you in the corner?
That's
you're like 4 rum and cokes deep, and you're just like, like a lawnmower not turning over.
maybe if I'm a couple drinks in, but I'm probably if I'm a couple drinks in, I'm probably not even analyzing what's a good move and a bad move. I'm probably just being critical.
You suck.
The thing is, like, there is a certain scenario at a blackjack table where someone will make a horrific move and it will kind of screw it up for everyone else at the table. So that is kind of a thing at times.
That's me. That's me. I'm that guy. I'm the guy that hits or stays when I wasn't supposed to, and for whatever reason, the whole table gets mad at me.
The dealer draws like a 3 or a 4.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, they're going to bust. It's very likely they're going to bust. Glenn's like,
double down.
Can I split these?
Can I? Splitting 9s. Here we go.
2 18s? 2 19s? Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, we have a bit of a topic today.
We sure do.
Let me start with this, I suppose.
Yeah.
I feel like this episode today will be relatively polarizing in terms of opinions that are shared. This is kind of a divisive subject, right? Like, this is, if there's a real world comparison to what we're going to talk about today, it might be like Republicans versus Democrats, Bloods versus Crips, Cowboys versus the Washington Generals. Is that what they're called now?
Bloods versus Crips. Commanders. I love how you're.
Oh, sorry, Commander. What did I say? Generals.
It's funny. I wanted to post in the group the other day and be like, Christian fakes liking sports so he can sound normal. Like, he actually is just like a Medicare robot. Yeah, he's not human, but he pretends to like sports to sound human, you guys. The Washington Generals. No, it's Commanders.
Who's the Generals? Commanders. I feel like that's someone. I feel like the Generals is a thing of some sort. Maybe not.
Maybe in the amateur football. Yeah, I don't know. Amateur football league, possibly.
And the topic today is kind of, to be having an open conversation about like what should an agent realistically want their FMO doing for them. It's kind of become a little bit of a trend that, some FMOs in the space have started to offer services to agents of theirs that maybe were in the past thought to be a little bit unorthodox or just kind of a thing that wouldn't really happen.
Before we get to that, I have a couple questions for you.
Yes.
Just some like topic updates. Sorry for those of you who are chomping at the bit to get to the main topic today. It's a big one. There's going to be, like Christian said, some polarized viewpoints on this. Also, Freebie Fridays tomorrow, you guys. Yeah. What are you waiting for? Comment below. Comment on, this is the 4th stream of the week. Comment on any of the streams this week, and you automatically get entered into the giveaway tomorrow. It's going to be big, as it is every Friday. So comment below and get into the giveaway right now.
And just to clarify, sorry, before we move on from
No, you're good.
For anybody that's watching on a platform that's not the Facebook group, of course, the show ends up going on a multitude of different platforms. A lot of you are listening in a lot of different ways. To enter Freebie Friday, you have to drop a comment on one of the live stream shows that's in the Facebook group. It doesn't count for YouTube or any other audio platform, or Rumble, for those of you that are watching on Rumble.
Oh, Rumble. Hello, Rumble viewers. If you're watching this on Rumble, hello.
One of our episodes the other day got 20 whole views on Rumble.
We're Rumble famous. We're Rumble famous. I didn't realize this.
On X, wherever you might be consuming the content, right? So just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that. Please continue.
Okay, couple quick questions for you that I'm genuinely curious what the answer is, because I haven't heard anything about these things. Maybe you have, and maybe we haven't talked about it recently. But one is, when is this man coming to power? When is Mehmet Oz getting into the administration? I was told 30 days roughly from when Trump was inaugurated in January. So that was January 20th. 30 days would be February 20th. We are like almost halfway through March already. I have seen no headlines, no mentions of this. Have you heard anything? Seen anything? Am I missing something?
So in the last couple of weeks, it's funny you ask. I did a little bit of research because I was curious and wondering the same thing. To disappoint everyone, there isn't really any solid information out there that I could find in terms of like a definite date. So what's going to happen is similar to RFK and some of these other people that have gotten sworn into their respective roles. He's going to have to go before Congress and be sworn in.
Right.
And so they're going to have to schedule that. It's going to be like a scheduled thing. To my knowledge, it hasn't been scheduled yet. He's going to have to get grilled by Congress, mostly Democrats.
Right.
Sorry. I can't help myself. But and then, he will most likely be sworn in. It's a possibility he's not. So, but I think it's very slim. When I was reading, they kind of were like the opinion pieces I was kind of researching about it were kind of saying that they were thinking it's very possible like mid-March we see this happen, but we'll see. I mean,
don't lie to me.
We're basically a week into March at this point, and there's really nothing confirmed yet. So who knows? Maybe this even stretches into April. It wouldn't surprise me if there's forces behind the scenes that are trying to kick the can down the road on this. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and I know early on with some of these appointees that had to get, again, Senate confirmed or Congress confirmed, however it's structured. But I heard some of the same thing, that it was being, specifically sandbagged by other people in the government. So I thought something like CMS wouldn't catch that sort of flack, I guess. That was my thought, is that I would think like, who really cares? Like, let's get our new administrator in there. Like, so that's one thing. I keep waiting. And I did, at one point, I checked the news pretty thoroughly. I was really looking for something like a date, because I'm seeing all these other people, Tulsi Gabbard, I'm seeing all these other people that went through and got confirmed. And so I'm like, where is Mehmet? Where's my man Mehmet? Don't worry. It's going to happen. Okay, buddy? We're going to get you in there.
It makes me wonder because like they have to schedule these out, right? Like they have to like schedule a time that, you know, the committee that's going to be, you know, adhering to the whole process is probably available. So they probably have to schedule each person out. It wouldn't surprise me if they viewed his role as less important than the RFKs, the Tulsi Gabbards, you know, that kind of thing. So that might have something to do with it. You know, they're like,
I'm sure you're right.
Who's the highest priority here? Oz is probably like here.
Yeah.
For the administration.
Here you go, Oz. Help those Medicare beneficiaries, Oz. We need you. Okay, so that was one question. The other question I had is when we were talking to Galen Hendricks on the show, great episode, you guys, check it out. She mentioned that the final rule that had a stay put on it last year around, I want to say that was around May or June when that stay got implemented, maybe even later than that. Maybe it was July, because I think it was after the summit last year, actually. So maybe it was July, you know, shout out to freedom, 4th of July, America independence. I was told by Galen that the word on the street is that he's going to make a decision this month. Is that correct? Am I remembering this correctly?
I think so.
Judge, supposedly the judge who had implemented the stay on final rule last year, I guess, according to her, again, this is what I'm remembering from the conversation, is that he was going to make his final decision on what to do with it by the end of this month or sometime in March. So if that's the case, I mean, this could be a huge month for Medicare. If both of those things happen, if Dr. Oz gets Senate confirmed, appointed by, you know, gets presidential appointing that gets through Congress, and if final rule from last year gets ruled on, I mean, we could see big waves coming in the near future. And we've seen some chatter about stuff too. Did you see the post in one of the Facebook groups where someone was like, my upline's not giving me co-op. I'm hearing there's some major stuff coming. And it's like, well, maybe there is major stuff coming. Or maybe it's all, you know, maybe I'm just an optimist, but I'm hoping that it's major good stuff coming. That's what I'm hoping. What are your thoughts on it? You feel that way? Are you optimistic? Are you as optimistic as I am about final rule and Dr. Oz?
I feel like long term, I think there's no possible scenario that this sticks. I just can't see it happening. New administrator coming in, new leadership across the board on the federal government side of things. Like, the rule is so crazy, so ridiculous, still to this day, not particularly clear, right? And it contradicts itself, right? Like multiple times. It's an unenforceable rule. It is an unenforceable rule for the carriers because they don't understand it. CMS doesn't understand it, right? So like it's a ridiculous, what was it, 1,300 pages of jargon and shit, you know, that no one understands.
But it's not necessarily an all or nothing ruling, right? Couldn't this judge pick out pieces of it and say, we're keeping this, but all of this is going? Isn't that possible as well? That's my understanding.
I'm sure that's possible. I mean, parts of it that are interesting to me, right, is like the 1-to-1 consent rule, the FCC, that's not in play anymore. It's just a matter of time before that bleeds down to Medicare, right? Because we've seen this in the past. CMS tried to implement that rule previously. You talked about it on the show very eloquently about a month ago, to where you know, the FCC steps in and says, we have jurisdiction here, you don't. You can't contradict our rules. So it's just a matter like that. That's an element of it right there where it's like that there's no way that's going to stay.
Right.
Zero, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that very well could be the case. It could be like, you know, certain elements of it are enforced, certain elements of it are not. I think the thing that's really tricky about it is like a judge having a level of understanding of it to make a decision. right?
Well,
Like
that was Galen's whole argument, right? She was like, I'm getting in here to make sure that they know what they're doing, that they understand. And hopefully, right? I mean, that's the one thing, like, we can argue about whether we like what the judge rules on, whether we feel like it's favorable or not. But my bottom line would be, I really hope they at least have a solid understanding of what they just ruled on, and that it wasn't like they were misled or uninformed or misinformed, and that they at least truly understand the implications of what they're ruling on. Because if it's someone who really just didn't get it, or who knows, he could have 10 other things on his docket right now.
of course, yeah,
right. I'm sure he does, and some of it might be 10 times more important than the CMS compliance, so this might be a back burner in his mind. He might be like, oh yeah, the CMS thing, whatever, like, we're keeping it.
I think
I don't know.
I think what's pretty telling to me is CMS does not understand our industry very well.
Yes.
They still to this day, they said it in the final rule, don't know what an FMO does.
Yep.
Right? They don't understand the FMO, they don't get it. And so like they're in charge of regulating this whole thing, have been for a long time. And they don't understand the industry they're regulating. So I think that makes it definitely a concern for a judge who's not a part of the industry, has not been regulating it for decades. That's not their full focus, coming in and basically being the end all be all in terms of the decision maker.
Yeah.
We'll see. I guess time will tell.
Yeah.
It's been such a long, drawn out thing that like my attitude is like I'm putting my head down. I'm going to work. I'm like, let me know when you guys figure this out.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's going to be.
Yeah.
I think in the early days of it, last year when it first came out, and then with the stay happening, and you're right, it was 4th of July. I remember I was driving to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and when I heard the news for 4th of July.
I knew it was post summit because I remember at the summit we were all talking about it like it was happening.
Yeah, and so at that point in time, it was top of mind, but it's one of those things where like so much has changed since then. It just would be really shocking to me if it actually went down the way that it was written up.
Yep. I agree. I think there's almost a 0% chance that as it's written, it gets implemented. I feel like if I was a betting man, we started this pod today talking about gambling. So here we are. If we were to bet on this, I'd say it's probably about 50-50 in my opinion. And this is just me speculating. For those who are fans of the show, we're known to speculate on the show from time to time.
People have pointed that out before about our
yes.
People have made critiques of our speculations.
That's speculation. You're speculating right now. We are known to speculate. Some people are here for the speculation. This is for you guys. This is for the speculators out there. I would say it's probably about a coin toss between completely getting tossed, where the whole thing's thrown out, and the other side of it being that maybe a couple pieces of it get kept. But the idea that the judge comes back and says, hey, this is actually solid legislation. We're going to keep all of this. I feel like that's essentially zero in my opinion. Is that kind of what you're thinking too?
I would think so. I would definitely think that is where I would lean. If I had to put my own money on it and I have to hit or stay, I'm looking into my crystal ball, if you will. I have a 13 or a 14. My least favorite hand, by the way.
Maybe we should start a pool. Do a little over under here in the group.
Maybe
like
so.
$10 to enter. Does final rule get completely thrown out, or does pieces of it get kept? We divide the pot amongst the winners. Guys, tell us in the comments what you're thinking about all this.
Do hashtag rule if you'd like to see a pool. Hashtag rule.
Hashtag rule.
And we'll have to go forward with it. I wanted to take a quick minute and talk about this episode sponsor.
Please do.
And that is the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit, you guys. The summit is less than 4 months away. There are still limited tickets left and available. We still haven't even announced all the speakers, by the way. We should have them all out with a schedule over the next couple of weeks. There's still some tickets left, not a ton. This will be the premier event in 2025. You heard it here first. So many events sell you on getting in the room, get in the room, get in the room. Use between plane tickets, hotel rooms, tickets to the event. You will sometimes spend thousands of dollars investing to get in the room. It's not a low investment by any means for most of you. And maybe when you get there, you're disappointed to find that you're there to be upsold to get into a different room that's more expensive, right? But you were promised information from the get-go. Doesn't you feel a little bit slighted when that happens to you? You'll never have that experience at the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit. It's all about content. It's all about pouring into you. Every single year, we hear tremendous feedback about the content being the best of any event that they go to all year long. We had an agent after, I believe, last year's summit say that, we could have charged anything for the ticket and it would have been worth it. And I would agree with that. The tickets are very affordable. They're only $500. There's not that many of them left. Make sure to get your ticket to the summit while you can.
100%. I love this. I also love the comments right now, you guys. I'm actually responding to someone right now. We got some gamblers in here. I love that. Hashtag rule.
32
excited
black.
For the month of 32 black.
We can have enough to save the town and be rich. Hit it again.
Hit him. Let it ride.
Let it ride. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll see, but definitely, guys, drop your comments.
Yeah,
in the chat about this.
Tell us what you're thinking. The hashtag rule is great. I'm really curious to know what everyone else thinks because I'm already seeing some polarization in the comments of some of you are like, oh no, this is probably gonna stay, and some of you are like, oh, it's definitely getting thrown out. So definitely, I'm very interested in kind of what the hive mind of the group and the audience, what you guys are thinking about final rule. So keep those comments coming.
And this could probably be its own episode as well.
Oh, for sure. Well, and it will be. Will be for sure
as we go, as more information comes out.
Yes.
I want to shift gears into the main topic. I want to make sure we have plenty of time to talk about it because I think there's going to be a lot to talk about here.
Can I say one thing too, really fast? About the summit, guys. Yes. We had over 30 tickets get sold last week, over the last week and a half. There is going to be a capacity to how many people we're allowed to have at the event. We sold out last year. We literally had to turn someone away last year who tried to show up without a ticket to the event. We don't want to have to do stuff like that this year. Do not wait. Do not wait. The fire marshal is capping how many people we're allowed to have at this event. Get your ticket now so you don't have to be turned away later. So just wanted to mention that because I am so excited and I loved having the 7-Figure Medicare Agent as a sponsor for today's episode. I'm getting choked up, you guys. It just means so much to me.
Definitely get your tickets. The fire marshal will come in, guns a-blazing, ready to shut us down. And then
axe sharpened.
So we have to abide by his wishes. Otherwise, there's no event for any of us.
That's right.
We bow to the fire marshal. Anyway, shifting gears a little bit into the main topic of the episode. So
we're shifting.
So I feel like this does go into a little bit of a larger conversation about what are the boundaries you should set with your FMO? What's appropriate? What's not appropriate? I remember when I came into the space, for the most part, then an FMO would probably do 60% of what they do typically today for an agent. For the most part, a lot of FMOs were really just there to hold and house your contracts. They didn't do a whole lot outside of that. there was no technology platforms. There was no Sunfire, ConnectSure, CSG Actuarial, Go High Level. And nowadays, even 5 years ago, the main topic of this would probably be a little bit of unheard of. And I see agents have very divided opinions on this. And the main thing is your FMO contacting your clients to provide customer service for you. And some agents love it. Some agents feel like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Other agents are more along the thought process of, that's a little sketchy to me. Before I have plenty of thoughts on this, I have plenty to say. But before I get into that, Glenn, when you hear this topic discussed openly, publicly, what is the first thing that comes to mind for you? What is your thoughts on it?
So it's really interesting how you mentioned. So you feel like FMOs are doing more for agents now than they were 10 years ago.
I do.
That's what you're saying. Yeah, you're saying almost 40% more. It was the number you threw out there.
Yes, I feel very comfortable with that number.
Can you show me how you arrived to that number? Can you give me the algorithm
that
allowed you? Yeah.
Can you show your work?
Can we whiteboard this? Can we whiteboard this?
No ChatGPT, okay? That's cheating.
Okay. So something I've thought a lot about with the podcast is the FMO that I originally got into business with. The very first person the first entity that contracted me as an insurance agent, the principal of that FMO, the CEO, the head of the FMO, I maybe heard from that person once a month on a conference call, if that. They were so far removed from the business. I think the sort of value and transparency that we provide, the fact that we are not just accessible to our agents and our downline, essentially every day of the week, but that we're broadcasting in the way that we are. I think about how much that's changed. That paradigm has shifted because, again, the principal of the FMO, the CEO, the person that I got contracted with, I essentially never heard from. And he was like a, hidden behind a curtain, like the Wizard of Oz. So I think it is interesting to look at how much the FMO model has changed. I do feel like that.
This episode of the 7 Figures or Bust podcast is brought to you by Everything Senior Insurance. Guys, if you're looking for an FMO in 2025 to be a partner with you and really support the overall growth of your business, Everything Senior Insurance is the one-stop shop to allow you to get plugged in with great resources. Whether it's ACA contracts you're looking for, whether it's Medicare contracts you're looking for, whether it's final expense and life contracts that you're looking for, Everything Senior Insurance has got you covered. We provide a free CRM in 7-figure CRM to all of our agents that meet the proper requirements on their contracting and have enough contracts with us. We provide discounted leads with Lead Heroes, discounted virtual assistants with Hire Heroes, and we provide just year-round support to just be there and help you out in your business, as well as fantastic training. Glenn, what do people need to know about Everything Senior Insurance, the FMO?
At Everything Senior Insurance, we've really combined all of our resources to create an FMO that can be a true one-stop shop for a senior insurance agent. Most FMOs have only maybe one resource or even no resources beyond offering that contract. We want to provide value to you as an agent to help you grow your book of business. Or if you want to create an agency, we want to help you grow your agency. And there's so many resources that we have put together to really help you grow your business. So if you are looking for a true partnership, someone that will invest in your business, please reach out to Everything Senior Insurance. We would love to help you grow.
Thanks for listening to this message. And now back to the show.
The FMO has had to the IMO, FMO. And for those of you, if you're brand new, someone commented they're new in the comments today. So I do want to take a second and explain, because I know we talk a lot of acronyms. And if you're new, you might be like, what the hell? Like, what is this? FMO stands for Field Marketing Office, or organization, office organization. And IMO stands for Independent Marketing Organization. Essentially, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. I've heard some people get into the weeds on this where they've tried to claim an FMO is actually bigger than an IMO. I've actually seen that argument take place, but they're interchangeable.
There's a lot of interchangeable terms, NMA, NMO. An
NMO would be big. NMO would be bigger, right? National Marketing Organization, would you say, is bigger than an FMO?
Here's the thing. The term FMO means something different with every carrier. Right. So it's not going to be a blanket statement, but typically my definition of an FMO is a larger, more established organization that can get higher contracts that contracts agents underneath them. That's my definition. But the term FMO with one carrier might mean they're the top of hierarchy. With another, it might mean the SGA level.
True.
Right.
That's totally correct.
So to me, it's more like, a large organization that contracts agents underneath them. They're bigger, they're more established, they have a lot of production, so they're able to get larger contracts and allow a hierarchy to be built underneath them. That's basically what my definition would be.
Yeah, so you have layers to this whole model. Again, for the newer agent, if you're watching or listening to this, GA, you're a general agent. That's like a field agent. MGA, managing agent. So you typically have agents underneath you, whether that's an LOA or downline agents. And what does S for SGA stand for? What is
super
special?
General agent?
Super general?
No,
is it for? Kidding. I was like, yeah, super.
Oh,
super general agent.
I used to know
Superman.
Used to know somebody that thought MGA stood for Master General Agent. I'm like, yeah, the master.
Master General, I'm here.
No, but so SGA means a couple of different things.
What's the acronym stand for?
So I believe it stands for Special General Agent.
It really is. It's special. It's special general.
I know with one carrier is that, at least. I'm going to look it up now.
It probably is. So my understanding is SGA is over MGA, right? And again, these are super subjective terms. That's the part of the conflict. And this ties back to what we were talking about with CMS not understanding our industry. There's so many terms like this that are either interchangeable or mean something different to whoever you're talking to. You're talking to one carrier, you're talking to one agent, one FMO, and these terms might mean different things to different people, and that adds to a lot of the confusion in this space.
And here's the thing, right? Like what you just mentioned is a very typical simple breakdown of the hierarchy, but a lot of carriers have several levels in between these levels, right?
Correct.
In the med sup world, a general agent means something totally different than it does to a Medicare Advantage contract. So a general agent in the med sup world means you're an independent agent and you're paid direct. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And so I've had conversations with people that mostly deal in the med sup world. They're like, well, that's not what a GA means. I'm like, well, to med sup and to MA, they're totally different things. So same word, different definition. So I feel like it can get super convoluted and in the weeds if you try to really place blanket labels over everything, because everything's going to be a little different.
I totally agree. And that's part of it's honestly, I wish there was a standardization of terms like this that all carriers, CMS, all agents utilize. It would probably help clarify a lot, because it's kind of created this smoke and mirrors situation where, and a lot of times it's not even necessarily on purpose. It's just, again, confusion among the industry about these terms. But so again, this is an oversimplification of what's going on that I'm trying to explain for a new agent. But so you got these levels, and I feel like this is kind of hard. That's probably its own pod right there. We could probably get in acronyms.
We could go off into Pluto on that, but
we could go to Pluto, not a planet, but we could go to Pluto and talk more about it. But anyway, so you have all these levels, FMO, IMO, that's kind of at the top here. And over time, I agree. What Christian said earlier is, the FMO or IMO has really, in my opinion, in order to be more competitive and because of the internet and transparency, I think they've had to offer more to try to incentivize agents to contract with them, to work with them. Back in my day, when I was a little boy and I got contracted,
little Glenny.
All I got was like 2 days of training and access to direct mail leads. That was essentially it. The carriers. So, hey, here's some carrier contracts. Here's direct mail leads. And, Agent Joe over here is going to train you for 2 days. That was literally my entire value model that the FMO gave me. There was essentially nothing else. Now, a lot of these FMO, it's like, here's ongoing training. Here's I guess technically they had maybe one trip a year that you could qualify for, but now it's like your FMO or IMO might have multiple trips. There might be a trip that you can just go to as being part of the downline. There might be a trip you can win based on production. There's training that's ongoing. There's training that's online, maybe a content library. You might have ongoing training that you can be a part of as far as an agent, whether you're experienced or new, all sorts of lead options potentially, right? Maybe there's something that can help you with digital marketing. It's wild how long the value list can be. Again, as IMO and FMO owners, Christian and I are really trying to be competitive with our agents, with our downline. Like, we want to offer as much value as we possibly can. So I do think that it has grown a lot, and we want to help agents. But now this is where we come back to the topic at hand. This is where we come back to the title of the episode is, let's say you have an FMO or an IMO who's literally willing to do almost anything for you, right? Let's say they have a huge value list. We can do this, we can do that, we can do this, we can do this. Where do you choose to draw the line as an agent or agency owner, where you say, hey, thanks, dude, but don't do that. I don't want you to do that.
So I feel like, okay, I have a lot of thoughts I want to share on this, because the topic at hand is specifically your FMO contacting your clients for you, right? Maybe to do customer service, maybe to do work on a claim, something like that.
Sure.
To me, and there's a broader conversation I'm going to kind of lean into with this, but to me, I would never allow it if I was an agent.
Ooh, and right to the point.
And the reason is
sharp.
I believe there's a couple of different reasons. Reason one is there is no FMO that I trust enough to have access to my clients like that. Even if they're the best guys in the world, everyone is great until they're not. Remember, the FMO agent relationship is a relationship. It's that. It's kind of like someone, I was listening to a podcast actually this morning, and they were talking about wealthy, successful people that get married without a prenup. And so, he's talking about, like, I know this guy is worth $50 million, got married, didn't get a prenup, said we're in love, got divorced, and gave up half of his fortune that he worked his whole life for. And, he's complaining about it. He's whining about it. And the host of the podcast was like, I don't feel bad for them, because you should have protected yourself. You chose not to. I kind of think about it almost like in similar terms, in terms of a marriage, right? Like, I want to run my business in a way that if I had to leave that FMO one day, if they decided to change something, I found out they were doing something nefarious, that, whatever the case might be, I'm not so reliant on them that I feel like I'm trapped and I can't leave. I want to set up my business to where I hold the cards. I have control. So that's number one.
If you just happen to grow apart, You just happen to grow apart from your FMO, and it's just not the same.
I'm not into you, honey. But I see agents all the time that like their CRM's provided from their FMO.
Yes.
Like they're almost like spoon-fed like a baby.
Yes.
And their FMO has full control over them. They don't have any control over their
100%.
business. If their FMO decided they wanted to change something, their business would collapse. And that's scary to me. You're putting your destiny in someone else's hands. And at that point, you might as well be LOA. Because what's the point of being independent if you're not really in control of your business? And so
just throwing daggers right now.
So that's number one. Number two is you have no control over the standard of service that's being provided to the client. For us, we have a standard of service. We have a 98% retention rate from last year to this year. You don't get that by accident. So I don't want some cookie cutter service that, is not a representation of me and my brand. Even if they're doing a good job, I don't care. And number three, how do I know that FMO is not trying to flip my business or send it to another agent or whatever the case might be? If I tried to leave down the road, it gets very incestuous, a word we've used before. It gets very messy, right?
Thanks for highlighting that word. I appreciate it. I'm sure YouTube appreciates that as well. That's great. But keep going.
It gets very messy, right? Like,
yes,
it's a situation to where you're giving them too much power over your business, in my opinion. Yes. We offer a free CRM to our agents. I think this kind of falls into the same category. Our agents are welcome to use it. We are never going to do anything nefarious with it, but you better believe there's FMOs out there that do that.
Oh, for sure.
They abuse the access to your data. The FMO is only your friend when you're with them. If you're ever not with them, you're the enemy, and they might try to churn your business. You don't know what's going to happen. You're giving them you're giving them the option though to do that. Now, I'm not saying every FMO is going to do that necessarily. There's a lot of great organizations out there. We certainly would never do anything like that. But the thing is it happens. It has happened. It will continue to happen in the future. And the only way you can really protect yourself is by having control of your business. Have your own team do the service work. Have your own CRM that you control everything. That's my advice.
I like it.
I think you're protected, and you hold all the cards in your business at that point.
So I have an analogy for you guys based on kind of what Christian was just talking about there. Modern shipbuilding. Okay. So stay with me here. Modern shipbuilding. I want to say around the time of the Titanic. I can't remember if the Titanic was actually one of the first ships to do this, but what they figured out is that in the hull of the ship, the bottom of the boat, if they compartmentalized it, where if a hole gets punctured in the bottom, they can essentially cut off that spot in the hole in the bottom of the boat. So essentially drop two doors on either side of the compartment that got breached. It makes the problem significantly smaller, and it's most likely not going to cause the entire ship to sink, right? That same idea around compartmentalization, longest word ever said on the pod, compartmentalization can allow you, it can be a safety feature in your business, in your agency. I kind of view it here. It's, again, to go back to this idea of like a value menu. If you're a brand new agent and you have no idea what to do, no idea where to start, you might need to be spoon-fed. You might need to get the free CRM, all the training you possibly can, all the contracts, all the leads. You might literally need all of those resources. And again, that's why Christian and I have put together a very similar opportunity, because we understand some of you really do need help all across the board. If you're more established, or as you've grown your business, you might realize that you want more compartmentalization. You might want to say, okay, my CRM is with this company. I have some leads from my IMO, but I'm also getting leads from this company and this company. I have my contracts with my IMO, but maybe there's something that my IMO doesn't specialize in, and I got a contract that I placed over here. You might start to diversify, which isn't a bad thing. Yesterday on the pod, Christian talked about a huge error he made when he went bust by essentially not diversifying. Mm-hmm. So, and we're not here to tell you what level of diversification you need in your business. You have to really be self-aware and figure that out for yourself.
I feel like there's levels to this too.
Yes.
Right? Like your FMO providing a CRM where they have access to your whole book of business, all your data, everything like that is one thing. Again, we provide it with 7-figure CRM to our agents that are premier agents with us. And are we going into their CRMs and looking at them? No, never.
Right.
But an FMO could do that, but that's one thing, right? It's another thing entirely where they are speaking with your clients on the phone and reaching out to them and communicating with them. To me, that just that crosses the lines so much to me.
Absolutely.
That I can just see that being a horrific outcome.
Not to mention, this is most likely a shared employee, right?
Yeah.
So if your FMO has an employee that's doing outreach to your clients, your book of business, who's to say they're not potentially facilitating communication to 10 other, even if they are good people, their chance of making a mistake is relatively high. At Hire Heroes, we try to set these virtual assistants up to be dedicated to you guys.
Right.
Because I'm trying to avoid that entire situation. I don't want overlap. I don't want a shared employee situation.
Let's think about this too.
Yeah.
You are at the mercy of how good that person is that your FMO chose. You didn't choose them. You didn't.
They could be brand new.
Vetting. Yeah,
they could be brand new. They might not know anything yet about the business. They got hired a week ago and they're calling your book.
You just don't know. You want to talk about control over your business? You have none.
Oof.
In that situation.
Yes.
And so I would never do it. Yeah. I mean, like, on paper, it sounds nice because it's like, okay, this will take some service work off of me. I can't afford to hire somebody, or maybe I can't afford to hire someone, whatever the case might be. But there's lots of things in life that sound good on paper, but
communism.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one.
You read communism on paper, you're like, oh my gosh, yes, sign me up. Let's do this. I love my neighbors. I love my friends. We all hold hands. We all get equal shares. We all work the same hours. Oh, yes. I love it.
Know your enemy. No, I'm just kidding.
If you read that though, and
you can understand their thought process.
I read it in philosophy in college. We had to read that. We had to read and I was honestly shocked because I came into it with the perspective that this was going to be Satan's writings, right? And it really wasn't, right? On paper, it sounds great, but it doesn't get executed that way. It's never been executed that way.
It doesn't work. Like,
it doesn't work. I love that you have my respect for you. I love that you have that in written form. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Respect.
I'm a well-read individual.
He is.
For those of you that were wondering.
You call me.
But no, I feel like, again, hiring as many people as we have over the years, working with so many people that have dealt with agents of ours, clients of ours, it's a very intimate thing. You handpick them because you feel like they're the right fit. You just don't know who's talking to your clients. And that's one problem. Could just be that there's nothing nefarious going on. But if, let's say, there's incompetence going on, they make a mistake. That's on you. They're calling as a representative of you to help that client. Scared the hell out of me.
They're probably saying your agency name. They're they're probably pretending to be sitting in your office, right? So your client has no idea that it's not you, you know?
There, again, right? Like, you hear about these situations where an FMO, it got really ugly. Like they went in and used data from a CRM, whatever, right? I've seen it all. And I know Glenn has too.
Yes.
Those things could never happen if you took the steps to protect yourself. Like the podcast I was listening to earlier, if you got the prenup side.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's not, it's one of those things where it's like, you're not planning for things to fail, but you're preparing to protect yourself in case they do, because there's a chance that it will, because not everything is dependent on you. There's things that are out of your control. And that's what I would think about with the FMO. You just don't know what's going on behind the scenes sometimes. It might not necessarily just be incompetence. It could be you're putting them in a position to where they have really direct access to your clients if they want it. And that's scary to me.
I want to see if I can get a hashtag going in the comments in the Facebook group, you guys. Hashtag Commie Christian. COMMIE Christian. I
proud
really like
capitalist,
that
by the way.
Yes.
Proud capitalist.
Here's another part of specifically. I've been talking a bit more in generalities, and I want to get really specific to the idea of your FMO, calling your book of business, calling your clients, handling customer service. Something that I don't feel like we've really talked about yet is how many sales can get facilitated from a customer service call, or a referral gets generated from a customer service call. By having your own team in place, obviously I'm not a fan of you doing all the customer service work yourself. If you've heard me ever talk about this at all, unless you're brand new, if you're established even remotely, you have 50, 100 clients under your belt, it's probably time to start looking at bringing in an admin assistant to help you. But when it's your team and you control that process, you can actually have them go through specific scripts, specific appointment setting for you. Hey, Mrs. Jones, it looks like, you mentioned last time that you didn't have dental. Is that something you still need help with? Boom. Stuff like that, where if your FMO is calling your book of business or handling your customer service, you're missing opportunities that your team or you as an agent could have potentially captured. The propensity of an existing client to buy from you again is 4 to 5 times high. Statistically, this has been proven. A client that's already purchased from you is 4 to 5 times higher to buy from you again than a brand new prospect that you've never interacted with before. So by you're taking your pot of gold and you're literally letting someone else manage it for you. It's scary. It's really scary. Now if you're, again, I do go back, the devil's advocate, the other side of this. If you're completely brand new and you don't even know where to start, you have no knowledge, maybe early on a service like this would be beneficial, but long term, there's no way in hell I would ever sign off on it.
I think like I even think about myself when I was new. I think I would rather do the call myself. Yeah. Because this is what I keep coming back to.
Yeah.
It's a person that you have nothing to do with how they're trained, how they do things, their processes. Right. And any mistake they make, maybe there's nothing nefarious going on. Maybe that's the worst case scenario, but maybe it's more of a lighter, oopsie daisy, made a mistake kind of thing that really messes up the client. You're the one that holds the bag at the end of the day with that.
100%.
So like, I really think that even if I was new, I think I would rather just do it myself. The liability, man. The liability.
It's a good learning experience too when you're brand new. I do think about that when the customer service calls that I had to handle, when stuff would come up where you're like, I don't know, I've never encountered this before. What do you mean your premium didn't come out? I don't know. So it's like that can be really helpful just to have that experience.
Yeah. I want to move into final thoughts.
I'm getting my Commie Christian hashtag post it in the chat right now, you guys. I want this to be a thing. I really do.
I'll go first with final thoughts, guys. Just kind of moving in that direction to close this episode out. Before more communist talk is ensued. Yeah, guys, my final thoughts are like, I think your FMO is a valuable, great partner for you and is there to help you grow your business. But at the same time,
yes.
I want boundaries, right? I want boundaries. Yeah. I don't want them to be in my business, making decisions in my business in that way, right? Like I want them to be there when I need help with something, but I don't literally want them to handle dealing with the inner workings of my business for me, because our values just might not be the same. The way we want to do things just might not be the same. It's a very intimate thing when you have your FMO cross those lines. There's not that many groups that do this these days, by the way. And I think most FMOs understand that long-term, this isn't a good thing. And so, it's not to say you're going to find a bunch of FMOs out there willing to do that. But even if they did, my advice, if it was me and I was in your shoes, man, I want to build my own infrastructure.
Yeah.
I don't want to be spoon-fed. I don't want to never be allowed to grow up and grow into an adult and be able to walk and run and skip and play.
The entire industry is built around risk management, right? Yes. Being an insurance agent is really all about risk management. Your client, and it doesn't really matter what line of insurance you're in. That's the entire game we're in, right? I mean, I started off talking about Dan Campbell and how much I loved how risk adverse he was. He's up 2 touchdowns. It's 4th and 12, and he's on his own 30, and he's going for it anyways because he doesn't give a shit. We have to manage our own risk in this business the same way we would manage the risk of our clients. And understanding what potential risk you have when working with an FMO or IMO is really important. And again, I'm a huge fan of diversification and compartmentalization. I think you can protect yourself and also have a great relationship with your IMO and FMO. Christian and I have, really done exactly that. I think we've done exactly that with our upline, and I think we do exactly that with our downline. Mm-hmm. So that's really my final thought. This was a really great episode, you guys. If you have, I would love to keep the comments going on this. You're so fetch, Glenn Shelton. Thank you. Oh my gosh. A Mean Girls quote on a Thursday just made my day. Thank you, Daniel. Comment below. Again, I'm going to mention this one more time. Freebie Friday is tomorrow. We're doing a giveaway. Christian, what should we give away? What are we giving away tomorrow? We've done leads the past 3 weeks in a row, so I feel like we got to change it up.
Virtual assistant hours?
We could do virtual assistant hours. We could do
more summit tickets.
We could do more summit tickets. We could do university logins.
University login. Maybe we do a university login.
We have
$5,000 value.
Whoa, that's a big one. Easy there, bud. That's my bottom line you're giving away. We're going to go broke. Guys, Freebie Friday might bankrupt the company. If we go out of business, if you're going to be like, what happened to ESI? What happened to Everything Senior Insurance? What happened to Glenn and Christian? They'll be like, Freebie Friday bankrupted the company. They gave away too much.
They gave away all their resources.
Gave away everything. So much free stuff that we're going bankrupt. So comment below. You get 1 entry based on every stream of the week. This is our 4th stream. If you commented at least once on each stream, that's 4 entries, and it increases your odds of potentially winning. That will be announced tomorrow, typically late afternoon. I try to get these posted by Friday night. Sometimes it's not till Saturday, but we will have another winner. So please don't miss out.
Yep. Appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. If you have any thoughts on this and you're watching a platform that allows you to do so, YouTube, the Facebook group, anything like that, we'd love to have some dialogue with you, of course, right? It's okay to disagree. If any of you watch this and you don't fully agree with what we talked about, let's have a friendly dialogue about it. Friendly being the word. And make sure to leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts for those of you that listen to the show on there. We certainly appreciate the support. On YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back with another episode. Here's to your guys' massive success. Appreciate you watching episode 68. We'll see you on the next one.